Okay. So, hi. This is gonna serve as my introduction episode. I'm filming this episode a bit later than all my other episodes, and also clearly in, like, the dark. But yeah, I figured that, all of my other episodes, which are, rambly and a bit more positive about mental health, digital interface thing, that, you deserve an explanation and an introduction before you dip your toes in any of that, if you dip your toes in any of that. So yeah, I'm gonna introduce myself again. My name is Sunny. I graduated from speech communication in my undergraduate university of the Philippines, Diliman, and I am a Master of Digital Humanities and Public Culture from the Australian National University. When I was in high school, I feel like we learned really weird stuff about computers and barely anything about the internet. Conscious, of course, that this was 2006 to 2010. We were learning, like, how to use Flash, where is the taskbar on the Microsoft Word interface. We were learning frankly useless stuff like that, and actually people were very cavalier about, like, the safety of online stuff. I remember we had a project where we had to make an online friend from anywhere in Asia. We have to talk to strangers to do it. I'd like to forget everything I learned about in high school about computers, except the touch typing. That was important. And I'd like to use what I learned more in my communications and my humanities courses. I learned a lot of very important things in my humanities, in my digital humanities and public culture course, and I learned a lot of practical communications things in my speech communication course, and I felt like it would be good to use it, and why not use it with, the simple things that I have, which is like a ring light, a mic, a laptop, and a phone. Let's talk about what we talk about here in this video series. I hear a lot of good and bad things about social media nowadays. There's people who kind of like can't get off it, and the kind of mental health aspect of social media has been in the fore. That's why a lot of social media now kind of tracks how much time you spend on it in order to go like, whoa, you're spending too much time on me. It's why people make the conscious choice to get off of the platforms completely. Maybe my most important message is that social media isn't bad or good, it's neutral, depending on how you use it and depending how conscientiously you use it. The reason why the bad aspect of social media feels more intense nowadays is because of how it's been increasingly weaponized by governments, by corporations, by people in power. Now it's being used to kind of sway our minds one way or another, or limit us, or otherwise observe us. And the other reason why social media feels more bad nowadays than good is because the world is more bad nowadays than good. The digital interface doesn't have space or time limitations. You can get information about anywhere, anytime. Then it just feels like we're being exposed to so much information all the time. At least our ancestors had to wait for like a horse and cart to come for 2 months from the city to hear something bad about what happened the next town over. Now we get to hear about something horrendous happening like on the other side of the world while we're hearing about something horrendous happening here, etc. And of course, like, COVID just increased all of that, right? Third reason, I guess, that the negative is felt more in social media nowadays is because of how our brains have now been hardwired to be able to interact with social media. Again, we begin to feel like we can't live without it. We begin to feel like our friendships are less substantial if we don't post it online. Our achievements are less substantial if we don't post about it online. We begin to desire kind of easy success that we perceive others as having on social media. We begin to measure ourselves by how many likes. It's not that we want to be wired this way, it's just that our exposure to the interface over and over makes us more liable to kind of feel this sort of thing. And social media does a lot of good as well. We know that. We have fun on it. We are able to keep connected with people we would otherwise lose connection to. People who are otherwise silenced or do not have enough of a voice or enough power to be able to put out causes or cries for help are able to amplify that on social media, especially for people who like to believe they have an artistic streak like me. Social media is a way to be able to kind of reach out to people, to share our art, the things that we create, the thoughts that we have, in a way that we think is liberating. So how do you balance the good and the bad on social media? My belief, again based on experience and based on the things that I've studied, is that we need to have authenticity, we need to have restraint, and as much as possible, we need to be as neutral as we can be. Complete neutrality is impossible, but we need to be as neutral as we can be and open to opposing ideas. So this video series of mine aims to kind of open your eyes and make you more aware of how you interact with others and how you form your sense of self through the social sphere for the sake of your mental health, and how to take a step back when it is necessary. Some of the stuff we'll be discussing in our future videos include, why does your friend always act like they're famous, or how come I always want to feel like I want to be famous in social media? I'm sad, but I can't stop scrolling for some reason. Why do my parents never listen to me about fake news? Ivermectin is clearly for horses, but they don't believe me because of something their friend said on WhatsApp. How do I become famous online? And some of the more academic concepts that we're going to discuss. How does social media make us more consumery? How are we monitored more? Our parasocial relationships that we feel towards our K-pop faves healthy, and why do we develop these? Talk about fandom, cancel culture, fake news, public history, public news making, things like that. We'll talk about all of that in as much as I can anyway. It's not like I am 100% an expert. I'm only a master, not a PhD or whatever. I just aim to be able to impart as much as I can in these short 10-minute vids. I will ramble, I'll likely lose focus, it'll be very confusing, but if you can't follow, I'll post these little too long didn't listen summaries at the bottom of the screen. If your ears have glazed over instead of your eyes, then just use your eyes and read what I have to say down there, including my kind of little side comments about filming and my opinions and all of these. So yeah, to wrap it up, I always end these episodes with a tip. And my first tip for better social media use and therefore better mental health is to be more observant of what aspects of social media make you feel bad. You know, you recognize your triggers. Is it seeing people who are more successful than you? Is it seeing people that you perceive as fake? Is it missing people who you feel like don't miss you back? Is it feeling like you wish you were more viral than you are? Is it overwhelming, like it's just too much content all of the time? Is it too much news that's depressing you? Recognize what it is that makes you feel bad so that you can nip it in the bud and simply stop doing that one thing. Just find one thing that makes you feel weird, awkward, or gives you that kind of naggy feeling in the back of your head, a feeling of obligation towards needing to use social media. Whatever that thing is, expose yourself to it less. You do have control. You have control over yourself, I promise. You have control over yourself and what you see on your feed and everything. You should exercise that control. It's important, especially in a world and with these digital platforms that often make us feel powerless. So yeah, that's it. This one will be a short one compared to the one where I really go off about Filipino history. Yeah, like and subscribe, or don't. Again, the power is all yours. Your control is yours. Exercise it. If you think that my content is interesting and you want to give me some validation, then yeah. And if you don't, then don't. But hopefully things that I've said and suggested will help and will have you thinking more about the way that you use social media and navigate digital interfaces and how you read digital texts and blah 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 blah. I hope you listen to me again. I just smudged my lips. If you don't care about this, but you care about Filipino history or you prefer podcasts, myself and my friends, my team at Whip Inc. also have a podcast on Filipino history. Yugto, that's YUGTO. We're on Instagram and Spotify and everywhere that you can find podcasts. Yeah, give that a listen as well. And if not, and you're like sick to death of me, then just forget that you ever saw this video. Again, good for your mental health, maybe, I don't know. Thanks for listening. Goodbye, and see you soon!